I'm going to tell you guys something, okay? Here's the deal. I'm going to tell you something, but stay with me. I don't want you to click. I don't want you to close out this page. I don't want you to think this is Bellyhoo or Chael's fooling around, all right? I'm going to tell you guys something. Do I have your attention? All right. Jamal Hill's the champion of the world. Jamal Hill is the champion of the world. Now, let's not stop there. Jamal Hill put on one of the most dominant world title fights in UFC history. All right, let's not stop there. Jamal Hill, to become the world champion in one of the most dominant light heavyweight fights in UFC history, took out a future Hall of Famer and former world champion in his home country. I am not kidding about this. Now, if we're going to keep playing this, okay, Jamal Hill, who's the champion of the world, who took out a future Hall of Famer in one of the most dominant light heavyweight fights in UFC history, in the guy's home country, has a background, an amateur background, if you will. In this case, a collegiate background. Are you aware of it? No, it wasn't on the wrestling team. No, it wasn't in football. Are you aware of what Jamal Hill did prior to getting into mixed martial arts? Basketball. He was playing basketball. And I want to say it was like junior college. I even looked into this. And one of the reasons I want to say junior college, though, is he did it for a couple of years. He went and did it for a couple of years and said, you know what, I'm going to go into MMA. So whether that meant he went the junior college route or not, it's kind of irrelevant to my story. That 18, 19, 20 years old, that's what he was doing. He was shooting hoops. He was a big guy, obviously a tough guy, but he had some real aspirations, and that is very uncommon. The kind of folks that are drawn to basketball are not drawn to contact. I mean, you've seen basketball players, right? If somebody bumps them, they're making faces. They're upset. Oh my God, give me some free points. That guy bumped me, right? It's a different kind of guy. There's not a lot of crossover there. And I don't know if you guys knew this. Did you know that's what he used to do? His third or fourth fight in, I looked this up and now I'm going off of memory, and this was about a month ago, was a 5-round fight. And by the way, it went all 5 rounds. I mean, very early in his career, this was like 15 months in, 15 months from Jump Street, he's all of a sudden in a 5-round contest somewhere in the world. Oh, and by the way, went all 5 rounds. Interesting guy, interesting career path. I watched him personally. I watched him on TV. I remember seeing this guy. I remember my exact words to you as I was recapping this guy. Jamal Hill, I wanted you guys to know who he is. You did not know who he was. I wanted you to know, and I said, I don't think it'd be possible for me to like this guy anymore. I liked his walkout. I liked what he did in the cage. I liked the way he left. I just remember making that piece. I remember visiting with you guys, and I got to see him live in person. And it was nasty. He got rolled up. He went to the ground with Paul Craig. And Paul Craig was moving and stretching the arm and going this way and that way. And before you know it, Jamal never tapped out. He never quit, but his arms dislocated. It looked kind of like Sakuraba Henzo Gracie, if you guys are real aficionados. It was nasty. But he shook it off. He came back. I mean, I really want you to think about that, guys. The one time I got to see Jamal Hill fight in person, he fought Paul Craig. He got finished in a nasty fashion in the first round. Both of those athletes just fought on the same card. Okay? Paul Craig beat Jamal Hill easily and fast. They just fought on the same card. Paul Craig got beat early in the night. Jamal Hill closed out the night and is now the champion of the world. It's awesome. It's awesome. And that wasn't a bump to Paul Craig. I was actually meaning to kind of shine Paul up a little bit. You have some good ones, you have some bad ones. What a difference a day makes. What about the guy that puts his head down and goes forward, and when an opportunity comes, he says, yes, you guys do understand how this fight was made, correct? I don't think you do. I don't think you do. 1 month ago, Ankalaev and Blachowicz are fighting for a vacated championship, okay? Shockingly, it goes to a draw. There's no champion. There was supposed to be a champion that night. Shockingly, it goes to a draw. There was no champion. That is the final fight of the evening. The only thing left to do before you get in the car and go back to the hotel is you go to a post-fight press conference. So Dana walks into the post-fight press conference. Very relevant that you understand the time frame here because there was no time. And at the post-fight press conference, Dana announces in Brazil, it will be Jamahal Hill versus Glover Teixeira World Championships on the line. Why is that relevant? Because Dana didn't ask either one of those guys. Dana did not call either one of those guys. Jamahal Hill and Glover Teixeira found out that they were going to fight in Brazil in a month for the strap the same time you guys did. Jamahal Hill put a camera on himself and released it on Instagram. He was screaming. He was saying, hallelujah. He was so excited. He didn't try to turn a gun back on the organization, say, you already promised this, you're going to have to come at me in a different way. He didn't do any of these things, and neither did Glover. There was guys who saw an opportunity, and they said yes when the opportunity came. And now Jamahal Hill, a college basketball player, who got stretched out by Paul Craig, who fought and lost earlier on the same evening, has defeated a future Hall of Famer, a former world champion in his hometown in one of the most dominant light heavyweight fights in UFC history. I want you guys to be aware of that. You run your career how you want, however you want. But you will see a difference in approaches here. You will see somebody who believes, for whatever reason, I no longer need to do what the boys do. I no longer need to have the hunger. I no longer qualify. I no longer go into this category. I don't know what goes through their minds. But one guy, right, is unemployed. And another guy is the champion of the world. And it really is relevant that you see that. Because I see the sacrimony. I see the applause. I see the praise to the unemployed guy. But I don't know that I've seen an understanding to the champion of the world, who was not a number one contender, who did not have a number one contender's fight, who heard an announcement with his name, showed up in the rest of his history, and look, these stories are all over the place, right? They're all over the place. When you have guys you can work with, and you have a guy that stays hungry, and you have a guy that sees an opportunity, that remembers why he got in the sport in the first place, that remembers what it was like as a little boy having a dream, sleeping on a friend's couch, not knowing where your next meal is going to be. Some people remember that and some people forget. I'm not passing a judgment. I just want to make sure that I bring it to your attention. There's two different paths. There's two different stories that were told in the last week. You can praise the guy's negotiation skills all you want if he gets the deal. If he doesn't, he's unemployed. The other guy didn't negotiate at all. Oh, by the way, he's the world champion. You tell me which one you'd rather be.